Thank you for joining us today. This is Jamie, who is a general manager at Hancom Inc., which is based on the South Korea. Anyway, let's talk about the avatar from now on, more details. Avatars are pretty important in the online world, and here is why. And first off, when you express yourself, you can design or choose an avatar that reflects your unique personality, setting you apart from the rest of the online crowd. And avatar is also the ready fly under the radar if you wanted to stay anonymous instead of the showing your real face. You can use an avatar to keep your personal info private and participating safely in online activity. Plus, avatar make online the interaction more interesting. When anyone's got their own avatar, it is much easier to tell who is who, which can make things more fun, whether you are chatting or play games. Finally, designing on the selecting an avatar can be its own source of enjoyment. And once you got your avatar, it can add it to the enjoyment of online service or games. So yeah, avatar plays a bunch of different roles in the online world, from expressing your personality to keep you safe to making things more fun. So basically, avatar is in the metaverse can be broadly divided into two types. One that is represent oneself, and one that is representing of the virtual assistant, for example. The former type is often created with a high levels of details to reflecting individuals' appearance and characteristics, and can be used to convey a personal impression or as a tool for the self-promotion on social media. They may also be used in games to represent specific characters and perform certain roles. The latter type of the avatar is often creating user virtual artificial intelligence as a virtual secretary. So it is possible to users' voice and converse with them and manage schedule and provide many information. These avatars enhance the user's interaction by providing an experience similar to the conversations with a person in real world. Overall, avatar can use it in various forms and ways, providing users with different experience and functions in the evolving the metaverse, and avatars are expected to play an even more important roles in the future. So avatar representation and animation, we called it avatar ARA. Things talk about how to make an avatar for the video conferencing, for example, which is when you have the meetings with the people using avatar instead of their real face. The Empire ARA things have to make digital version, a digital environment populate with non-human audio visual object and a video digital human model and the motion human, the animation of the digital human model, and finally the features of the human. The requirement is, standing commit made the current version of the technical stuff for the Empire ARA, but Empires might make a new version in the later. So I think the many persons participating the standard project for us. And what is avatar representation and animation? Our objectives are as follow. Firstly, we aim to provide a user within the ability to recreate a virtual environment. And secondly, we wanted to empower user to create avatar of other individuals and animate them using only minimum information provided by the third party. And thirdly, we seek to estimate the person and personal status through their avatar. And finally, we aimed to synthesize avatars that display personal status, which is defined as a combination of internal information unique to an individual, such as their emotion and cognitive state and social attitude. With increasing the popularity of the virtual communication and interaction, avatar has become an essential element in the modern technology. So avatar, it can be seen in the video games, is virtually reality experience, and even in the video conferencing software. This digital representation of the user, you can take a various form, and from the lifelike humanoid to cute cartoon characters. They not only enhance the user experience but also provide a sense of the identify and the personalization. In this context, let's explore some example of how avatar have been implemented in various fields. So now let me walk you through this standard workflow example of the avatar that Empire has developed it for implementation so far. The first one is avatar-based video conferencing is avatar video conference is a technology where two or more users use a digital avatar, a virtual representation of themselves to chat or to conduct meetings in the virtual space. This technology is aimed to provide the user with a more immersive and realistic experience and allow the participant to hear each other's face and voice even more remote location. Avatar-based video conferences is expected to widely use in the future's remote meeting or educational setting. So let me explain more details. We are separated four parts, basically. First one is transmitting client. We can input, the input is language preference and visual and the speech and text and avatar model to input the transmitting client, and the transmitting client is producing the language preference and speech descriptors and face descriptors and avatar model and avatar descriptors and speech and text. And server is interaction to the virtual secretary and also servers to interaction to the receiving client. And first of all, server is interaction for the virtual secretary with the speech and text for some translation if we required, and there's some participation ID and avatar description, and also as you can see that there is a virtual secretaries can be make a summary. So server side is finally they are give to the receiving client for the summary and environment description and participation ID and avatar model and avatar descriptors and speech and text. And then finally, receiving client is output audio, text, and output visual, and finally in the summary, and that is according to the point of view. I will explain more details the workflow, and I will explain the avatar-based video conference call working through first. And a user select the virtual space environment where the avatar operate. The avatar model to be animated, the positions occupied by an avatar in the virtual environment. The user point of view when watching and hearing the 3D audio video scene in the virtual environment. On machine side, the perceive the audio visual the component of the real environment and create as well, and audio scene description the composed of the independent audio object and their locations. Visual scene description is composed of independent visual object and their locations. And third one is complete audio visual scene description. And identities humans belonging to the groups composed of the limit number of the humans, the closed set identification using, and speech descriptors and face descriptors, and decode the human personal status by extracting the descriptors of the manifestation of the human's personal status. For example, text and speech and face and gesture, and extracting the human status from the text, speech, face, and gesture descriptors, and fusing the different personal status in text, speech, face, and gesture into personal status. And last one is animate to speaking avatar by synthesizing speech using text, speech, and personal status of text and the personal status of speech. And animating the face using the text and synthesize the speech and personal status of the face. And animating the gestures of the avatar using text and personal status of the gesture. Then converges with another party by decoding the other party's personal status and animating an avatar representing it. The summarize and refines the speech of the other parties by the acknowledging and the interpreting their text, speech, and the personal status manifestation. We are basically, as you can see the previous case, we made each AIM is combined for the entire process. The all stage envisions by the empire exist independently with each AIM and are being considered to the combine in order to apply the new workflow or a new service like as a Lego. So this is why the various configurations are possible for the use case that is introduced later as they take it on this form. Let me explain more details why it is Lego from the avatar video conference call as a use case. For example, as you can see that we are very simply see the transmitting side before, and that is much complicated. We are, as you mentioned, we are separating each of AIM, and each of AIM is also developed more details for the as a module inside by itself, because when we are wanted to do using this kind of things to the another case, we can easily using the and adopt to our AIM as purpose. So for example, avatar-based video conference call client side, there is the language preference and avatar model and text and input audio and input video, and that is finally make a compressed avatar descriptors very easily. So you can see the main concept is that we are the one workflow can be separated very freely. That is reuse this module to another workflow. And next one is avatar-based video conference server side. Server side is receiving the summary and the environment model and avatar model and spatial attitudes and avatar descriptors and participant identities and speech descriptors and face descriptors and language preference and speech and text. And they will make an output to go to the virtual secretary, and a virtual secretary is the next step. Yeah, virtual secretary is receiving the data from the server, and they are the core thing is they make a summary by itself, and the summary is at the first the summarization AIM produce the summary, but we have give the input from the text side or the language understanding side. So it is a dialogue processing to make the checking the summary is correct as a virtual secretary, and it's not, and they are providing the edited summary to the summarization, the AIM again, and we will finally we can get some very exactly the summary from the dialogue process finally. And finally, avatar-based video conference client side, receiving client side, finally the server is producing the many of the modality, and that is input of the receiving client side. And what is that is environment model and avatar model and spatial attitude and participant ID and compressed avatar descriptors and spatial attitude and participant ID and the speech. And the bottom side is the visual scene creation and make a visual scene, and the bottom side is make some audio scene creation to make some audio scene. So finally, we can produce the from the avatar-based scene viewers and make some output audio and output visual things according to the point of view. And more details, we can just more deeply, see the diagram by itself. So we can define the personal status extraction. As you can see, the previous one, we can have a personal status extraction in the first of second of the workflow. So we can make more details for the personal status extraction. So personal state extraction is finally make a personal status. And the personal status is including the emotion and cognitive state and the social attitude. That is very, very the strong point of our standardization. And finally, personal status is can be displayed. That is the Rust workflow. That is a selection and task and personal status speech and personal state face and the personal state gestures. It is the decoding to the face descriptors and body descriptors, and they make avatar, finally avatar description, and they make the avatar descriptors, and we'll be making compressed descriptors, and finally we got the avatar and avatar models. So last one is we think about implementation. GLTF is a specification of providing information of the model, the geometry and the materials. To animate an avatar, we use the skeleton animation. The humanoid animation is a standard of providing a body model. So to capture a real body movement, device must be used. For example, for instance, the Kinect that is on the skeleton model slightly and different from the humanoid animation. To animate the 3D models, we need to the real-time environment. For example, Unity is an engine to provide the complete management of the virtual environment. And Unity uses one skeleton's model, slightly different from the humanoid animation. The expression of the face of an avatar model are represented by the brand shape. According to the facts, that for body, we use the evolution in time, the joint, the position and angles between joint. Empire intend to specify an avatar representation and avatar format that is generate as it captures and transmitting to the receiving and to reproduce the avatar as intended by the transmitting end. Thank you for listening and attention, and we are looking for your participation in the exciting project and the joint Empire share the fun, build the future. Thank you.